Okay, so um all right, so let's go through these assignments together. It said um weekend exercise, write a contract, call it get numbers, instantiate two state variables, call them input A and input B, write a constructor to initialize these two state variables with two parameters for it, and then write another contract, call it calculator. This contract should inherit the get number contract. Write a constructor that inherits the constructor in the get number contract. Write a function called check modulo to check the modulo of input A and B. Write a require for the check modulo function so that the divisor is not equal to 0. Write another function, call it divide input input to divide, call divide input to divide input A and B. Write a requirement for the divide input function. So A, the dividend must be greater than or equal to the divisor. B, the divisor is oh sorry, the divisor should not be 0, and the dividend, lastly, the dividend and the divisor must not be a remainder. And also write a function to check if input A is an even number or a odd number. Okay. How many of us found this very difficult? Don't raise your hand, just unmute your mic and say I did or I didn't. How many of us found this difficult? Okay, so it's very, very simple, yeah? All right, so this is what we did. This is the constructor we wrote last in our last class. And um I think this wasn't the constructor. Let me check. Okay, so this is the constructor we wrote, and this is how we inherited our contract. Okay, so I just wanted to refresh our mind for those of us that could not watch the video before we did the assignment. Okay, so this is how we wrote our constructor, and then how we did our old stuff. All right, so let me okay, we already called the contract here, so I will not, I have to comment these guys. Let me comment these guys out. That's what I'm doing. All right. So number one says, okay, let me write it from here. Number one says we should write a contract called get number here. So we'll write a contract. I'll call it okay. So it said that we should instantiate two state variables, call them input A and input B here. So let's instantiate two state variables, and then we call it input A and input B. Okay, so we said we should write a constructor. Okay, so write a constructor to initialize the these two state variables with two parameters for it. So how do we write a constructor? Let me hear you. All right, let's go. Want to go? What should I write here? I said we are going to write it together. So what should I write here?
Constructor uint input A uint input B.
Constructor. Yes.
Open brackets.
All right. Open bracket. And then I will write my input, Abi,
Parameters.
my
Yes.
parameter. Yes. Okay. You can mute your mic now. Sorry, you can mute your mic now. Okay. So and then I will say my input A is equal to this input A, and my input B is equals to this input B. Okay, so how many of us got it to this side? Hmm? Okay, all right, so we're on track. Okay, so we've done number one, number two, and number three. All right, so it said we should write another contract. Okay, so we should write another contract and then call it calculator. So we're going to write another contract. I'm going to call it calculator. All right, so should be fast about this. And then it said that um write a constructor that inherits the constructor indicate numbers contract. Abi? So first of all, before we inherit um the operator in this contract, we'll first of all inherit the contract first. Okay. So what we'll do is that we'll say calculator is get number. All right. So we'll say calculator is get number, and then we can now write our whatever we are writing inside. Okay. So they said that so the next one is write a constructor. Okay, write another contract, call it calculator. You should inherit the guest number contract. Then write a constructor that inherits the constructor in the get numbers contract. All right, so how we're going to do this? So we're going to write our constructor. Okay, so we're going to be putting our the same input too. Yeah, for this one. For this one. Um, let's call this one in A and call this one in B. Okay. So let's call this one in A and call this one in B. And then we our get number, and then we have in A, comma, in B. All right, so we're going to make this public, and then we're going to be having the brackets. Okay, so what next? They said that write the function to check the modulo of input A and input B. So write the constructor to inherit the constructor of the write a function to check the modulo of input A and input B. Okay. So how do we go about that? To go. So let's write a function to check this.
So sorry, I want to ask a question.
Ans. I'm listening. Ask your question.
Mr. Tam, I want to ask a question.
I said ans. Can't you hear me? I said ans.
Okay. Okay. You said the constructor of the get number is supposed to of the calculator, sorry, is supposed to inherit the constructor of the get number, right?
Yes.
So the constructor of the get number is not supposed to be like an inbuilt value. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, say what?
I said the constructor of the calculator is not supposed to be like an input where you are supposed to input a value.
The constructor of this new of the calculator or the constructor of the get number we are inheriting.
The one we are inheriting, right?
And now the one we are inheriting already has an input value now. This is the input value we already have here. So this one that we are inheriting now, this one we are inheriting now is actually carrying the same character we are inherited. I don't know if you understand. Like this guy now is inheriting growth. You can meet your mic so that you can hear me and understand me as well. I was saying that this constructor is inheriting this constructor. So when we put our inputs, these inputs there that we have put is actually inheriting all these guys, everything here. Sure you get. So there's no need to inherit again. Like there's no need to put in another parameter inside this place again. That's why this place is empty. This empty place is saying that what is here is already what is here already. Sure we understand. Do you understand?
Yes, go on, no problem.
Okay. All right. So let's write a modulo to check for two numbers. Okay. Mm. All right. So we're having an error. So let me check. Can you hear me? How many of us can you hear me? How many of us understand to this point?
Yes, yes.
How many of us understand to this point? Let me see your hand. Okay, you don't. Okay, okay, beautiful. So you don't understand to this point. Let me see your hand. Okay. So please, you do me a very big favor because of the sake of our time. You go back to this class. You go back to this video and do it. Okay, and check it out, and then get back to me. All right, so let me do a recap of what I've done so far. So what I did was that we wrote a contract, get number, we initialized to input according to our assignment. We're not doing anything outside our assignment. We are just following what the assignment said we should do. And then we had our two inputs, and then we wrote a constructor to get these two inputs. And then that was the end of this contract, get number. So we came to contract, we wrote another contract calculator, and then we inherit get number with this keyword is. So we are saying that this calculator is get number. By that, we are inheriting everything that is in this contract. So everything this contract can do, this contract can do it. Okay, and then we then created another constructor here and then inherited the constructor in this contract so that the inputs in this contract and the state variable that was being declared in this contract can also function in our constructor. So how do we do that? We did our input and then we called this contract get number, and then we said that the input of this constructor should carry the character of the constructor in get number, and then we'll make it public, and then we close. Now we wrote a function check modulo, and we said that check modulo we return the modulo of input A and input B. But before that, in while we are doing our modulo class, we said that it's an error for a number to have number modulo 0. You cannot modulo 0 because it's going to cause an error. So we wrote a requirement to check if input B is 0. So we said that input B cannot be 0. So this is actually an operator for not equal to. Okay, so we said cannot be equal to 0, and then we wrote a message, an error message, that divisor cannot be 0, and then we return the modulo of A and B. All right, that is for, we've done number 1 to number 7 just now. So see, it's not difficult. So write another function called divide input to divide um A and B. Okay, so the same thing we did with check modulo. So we're going to write a function, and we're going to call it divide, and then I'm going to say public, the same thing, public view. No need to be putting input again. Public view returns. What are we returning? We are returning an integer. Okay, so normally this is going to supposed to be, oh sorry, so normally these are supposed to be, we're going to supposed to say input A divide input B, divide by input B. Sorry. All right, this one is going to fly. Oh, sorry. Right. So this one is going to fly, but what one I was saying here? All right, so this one is going to fly, but if we run this contract, input A is going to divide is going to be divided by input B. So, but the cell we should write the following requirement. So we said that the dividend must be than equal to greater than or equal to the divisor. The dividend divisor should not be equal to zero, and the dividend and the divisor must not have a remainder. Okay, um so let's start with the first requirement. So say require, and then you can write requirement for all these guys and write error message for all of them in case any of them has been breached. So said the dividend must be greater than or equal to the divisor. So we say that input A, the dividends must be what? Must be greater than or equal to. So greater than or equal to input B, and then okay, let's write an error message and say check inputs and try again. Okay, so we say check input and try again. Let's do this. All right, so let's write another requirement. Require. So we say that the second requirement is that the divisor should not be zero. So that means input B should not be zero. The same requirement we wrote for modulo should not be equal to zero. So we write the same error message here. Let's just copy and paste it here so that we don't waste our time. Okay, so always remember to close. The last requirement, is that the last requirement? Okay, the last requirement, the dividends and the divisor must not have a remainder. The dividend and the divisor must not have a remainder. So how do we do about this? How do we solve this? Remember I told you that when you want to solve anything remainder, what should come to your mind is modulo. Okay, so we said inputs A modulo inputs B equal to 0. All right, and then say um okay, what error message should we put here now? Numbers are not a remainder. All right. Okay, I think I have a problem. Sorry, my bad. All right, so that's the last requirement before this guy can now finally run as a code. And then finally, they said we should write a function to check if input A and if input A is an even number or so. So write function, I'll say check even, check even number. Let's put it that way. All right, so we're going to public view return. What are we returning? Let's return string memory. All right, so we're going to return string memory here. So we're going to write an if statement if inputs. Which one did they say to check? Inputs A. If input A modulus 2 is equal to 0, return number is an even number. Else return number is an sorry odd number. Okay, I think we should play this guy. This guy. Okay, we are having error here. Okay, space dot return. All right. Um. Okay. Okay. Um. Oh, sorry, my bad. Main inputs A. All right. Okay, we've cleared it. Okay, how many of us got to this point? How many of us, how many of us got to this point? Afolabi, you got to this side.
Yes, sir.
The last clap for Afolabi, I beg. Not easy. Okay, I'll have to check. I'll check it, sha. But that's very nice. That's very nice. Who else got to this point? See whether you, I don't care whether you got it or not. If you attempted it to this point, let me say your hand up. Okay. All right. Just two persons. Wow. Okay. If you did it this way, let me see your hand up. Okay. Just Afolabi. Adikemi. Oh, this that's nice. That's very very nice. I'm proud of you guys.
Sir,
I'm
what are
proud.
you asking? What are you asking? Sorry.
If you did it to this side, if you got it, if you did it up to this side, let me see your hand.
I got it to this side now.
Okay, okay. Sorry, no verse. All right, I clap hands for all of you. I celebrate you. Okay, so um, we have been so confident that we've not run our stuff. So let's try 20 and 10, for instance. So let's interact. Okay, just our contract just ran, and then let's check our calculator. So we said check even number. You say that the number is an even number. Check modulo, you see that it went very well. And if you divide it, you see that okay, so 0. So what is our requirement here? Greater than or equal to 0. Oh, sorry. None of us even saw this. I said that input B is greater than or equal to input B, which is not supposed to be so. So let me check. Let me say that input A should be greater than or equal to. Okay, so let's do that again. Let's say 2010. Let's, let's divide. So another of our requirement again is now checking this thing. Okay, so the modulo is 0 and even number. Let me check 13, 0, for instance. Run this contract. So the number is an odd number. Check modulos. You're going to revert and send me that divisor cannot be 0. And if I try to divide it, it's going to revert and again and say divisor cannot be 0. Okay, so if we did it up to this side, kudos, congratulations, we have been able to start cracking some complicated stuff. You understand? Constructor is a little bit advanced, so kudos to us. I celebrate all of us. Please, after this class, go and buy yourself. So it's too late to drink Coke. So tomorrow morning, go and buy yourself Coke and drink and say, I did constructor assignment and I did very well. But for those of us that could not do it, please go back to the class and you have question. You have question. Let me see. If you have question, please unmute and ask. If you have question, unmute and ask. All right. The absence of no question. Okay. Today, I was supposed to talk about struct arrays and enums today, but let's see how fast we can go about the rest of our little time we have. All right. So I wanted to say something for those of us that did not do it. Please go back again with what we've learned in this class. Go and attempt it. Okay. Go and watch the video and attempt it, and you can still submit it, and I will answer your questions. And everything you are submitting, please submit through the class captain. Okay. Also, she also takes record of students that does assignment as well. All right, so what are arrays? Okay, so talked about arrays. I think one class like that I mentioned arrays as collections of data. All right, so today we are going to be looking at arrays. We're going to be looking at how to write arrays, how to add to an array, how to remove from an array, how to change the length of an array, how to delete an array. Excuse me, you get, and the how to check the size of an array and how to check the content of an array. All right. So this they are more advanced application to arrays, but we just for the sake of the class, we just want to look at the structure and the syntax of arrays. Okay. So in the nearest subsequent classes, we will be looking at mini projects and writing mini projects. We'll be looking at arrays in different lights and its application. But for this class, we just want to look at the introduction to arrays. So what's array? Array in Solidity are data structures that store a fixed size or dynamic collection of elements of the same type. Okay, an array is used to store collection of data, but it is often more useful to think of an array as a collection of variables of the same type. What does it mean? So let's write our contracts. Okay, let's call it len array. All right, so we're going to create an array. So let's create an array. So let's call it my array. All right, so this is an array. Okay, this is an array, and this is how to write an array. Now we can actually make this array public. We can check, you can add visibility to the array, we can make it public. Okay, so now we have different types of array. We have the fixed array and we have the dynamic array. So if I put three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what the difference between this array and this array is that this one is a fixed array. Dynamic array. All right, so one is fixed, the other one is dynamic. All right, so this one is a fixed array and this one is a dynamic array. Okay, so shortly we are going to be learning push how to write an array. Okay, we just did how to push an array and how to add an array. So the the method for adding to an array is called push, and the method for removing from an array is called pop. All right, so when you add to an array, you push to an array. So what you want to remove from an array, you pop out of an array. Understand? And also an array uses this list method of um first in, okay, first in, okay, last in, first out. Okay, so last in, first out. Last in, first out in the sense that number 9 is the last to be added to this array. But if I want to pop out an element from this array, I cannot pop out number 1. What I'll be popping out is number 9. Okay, but there's a way of popping out a particular um element from an array. Now, okay, what does it mean? Before I forget, yeah, we keep saying that elements of the same type, variable of the same type. What does that mean? So I cannot have an array of, okay, so I cannot have an array of string, string variable, string type, and it's not going to work. Okay, this one is not going to work. You cannot have an array of different variable types. You can only have arrays of the same type. So if either this one is an array of string variables, or is an array of integer variables, or is an array of boolean variable, or whatever types of variable you are calling here. But arrays cannot contain more than one types of variables. An array must always have the same variable types. If you want to have different arrays for different arrays, so in your functions, you can start calling the arrays that you want. Okay, so that is that. All right. Do we understand? So let's call this one my array 2. Let's call this one my let's call this one my fixed array. All right, all together. Okay, so this one is your fixed array. So you can have as many as possible inside of this guy. We get him. So we can have 3, whatever inside. Now, this guy is a dynamic array. And then I said that arrays cannot have more than one data type inside of it. All right, so let's quickly run through some examples and see. Let's just be practical about it. Okay, so let's just do something to show everything I have been saying. So let me write a function to pop. Okay, so let me just call it pop. Um, all right, so this function is to add to the array. Okay, so what am I popping? What array am I popping? So I'm going to be popping my array. Okay, I'm going to be popping my array. So these are, I write it, say my array dot pop. Oh, I'm writing, sorry. So okay, before we pop, let's write a function to push. Remember I said that pop is to remove. Okay, so we cannot write a function to remove what we've not added, right? So let's write a function to push. Okay, so call this one push. And so what are we pushing? So let's get an input and let's call this number. Okay, let's make this guy public. So there's no need to be writing view returns because you're not returning anything, you're just adding to an array. Okay, so we are going to be, what are we pushing? We are pushing my array. All right, so write array dot push, and then in brackets this number we are pushing. All right, so we are pushing this num. So what does this mean? It means that we are we are pushing we are pushing the number we are getting here inside my array. You understand? So we are pushing this number inside my array. Okay, so that is it. Now we wrote a function to pop. So what we are doing here is that we are actually pop removing from my array. Okay, we are removing from my array altogether. Altogether. So that's how to write a push. So the push method adds one or more elements to the end of an array and returns the new length of the array, while the pop method removes the last element from the array and returns the new length. Okay, let me just copy this and put it at the top of where it belongs. Okay, so all right, so this is what this push does. It adds, and then this pop, let me pop it from here. Okay, so this is what this pop does. It removes the last element from an array and returns the new length. Okay, so having done that, we can also write a function to check the length of the array, right? So we can write function and then the get length. So this is going to be the name of our function, for example. And then we are going to be returning, since we are getting the length now, we're going to be returning an integer. So say public returns. So, oh, forget again. All right, so how do we get the length of our array? Is very simple. So what we'll do is my array, okay, so we just return my array dot length, and it's going to give us the length of our array. All right, so let's run this guy. Let's see what we have been doing so far. Let's see what we have been writing so far. Okay, so let's add, let's pop one. Um, 4. Let's push 5. Let's push 6. That's a lot we've done already. Okay, so we pushed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so let's get the length of our. So see that we have 6 elements here. Okay, we have 6 elements here. If I pop, I click on pop, and then I get this stuff. Okay. All right. So now somebody will ask me, okay, so why is this guy still showing me 6? instead of should be reducing in size. All right. I want to say something that one when elements of arrays are listed in array, what it does is that it listed in index form, in the sense that, let's say for example we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for example. Okay, so in index form, this guy will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but in index this one is 0, 1 is 0,
Sir, your
you want to answer question.
I said your voice is low.
Oh, sorry. So can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so I was saying that if you want to I was saying that if in index form, when you are writing your list, your arrays is actually seen as index like this. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is supposed to be position 1, position 2, position 3, and so on. But in index, 1 is 0. It starts with 0. So 1 is 0, 2 is 1, 3 is 2, 4 is 3, 5 is 4, and 6 is 5. Okay. So what if we want to see our arrays? What we want to see the numbers of our arrays. We want to see what is in our arrays, the elements we've pushed into our arrays. So we can write a function to get array. Okay, so we can just write a function and just say get array, and so what we'll do is just return my array. Okay, and that will be it. Am I doing anything wrong? Okay, okay, sorry. Um, okay, so we are not just returning numbers, we are returning, sorry, we are not just returning numbers, we are returning an array. So we are going to specify that we are returning an integer, but in the form of an array, and we are storing this information in temporary memory. So that's why we are using this memory keyword. Okay, so when you are returning an array like this, you always put your memory keyword. Can you hear me? So you put your memory keyword, and then let's see what we've done so far. And let me push one, and push one, and push 50. Okay, you're going to see all the numbers I have pushed so far. Okay, let me see if this pop is going to work. Ain't still working. But we get like if I should add another number now, let's say let me add 14. Sorry, my system just freeze though. I think my system just freezed. So let me refresh the page, okay? Okay, I see you on this. Answer question. I think I see you on. I saw you on answer.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I saw that the push function it had the input of number, but the pop function didn't have any input. Like, why is that?
That's because you are not um popping out any attributes. You are just popping out the last number added to the array. So you're not getting any input. You're not popping out a specific input. You understand? I don't know if you get.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
All right. So I'm trying to reload my stuff, and the data is very as if data network is very slow. So just give me a few seconds, okay? Few seconds. I'm almost back. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Oh.
Okay. All right. So this is it. Let me zoom in so that we can see. So any question? Okay.
This
So
pop, is it like, sorry, this pop and push, is it like, are they like keywords?
yeah, yeah. Pop up push are like they are keywords for
What of
adding
the
and
my
removing.
array?
My array is just your data name, what you gave your data, what you
Okay.
gave the name you gave to your
And
array.
why, sorry, why is there 56 at the, in the first um,
Okay, this is just an
array?
example. That's just an example to tell you that okay, this array is a fixed array because you're actually giving it an element inside. So there's already an element inside. Why this one is an open array, you're the one putting elements inside as well. Okay, so this one size, this one yeah, all together. Okay, so this last one, let me just talk about this last one. This last one is to remove an array. So this remove an array is like deleting an array is different from popping. So what pop does is that pop removes the last element from the array while this one deletes with an index. Okay, so let's say you have 1 2 3 and you want to delete number 3. You understand? Okay, you want to delete number 3 from this array. Okay, so you can you can use delete. If you use pop, it's going to remove number 6, but if you use the delete, it's going to delete by index. All right, so how are we doing that? So let's write a function. Let's call the function remove. Okay, so let's call the function remove. And then okay, so what we are going to be doing here is that we're going to be using the index. All right, so I'm going to be using I to represent index. Okay, so public, and then we are not showing anything, so let's just go straight on it. So I'm going to be using the delete keyword and the name of your array, and that's it. Here's my data. I My stuff is still compiling. That's why there's no deploy button here.
So I'm not hearing you.
I said my code is still compiling, so my contract is still compiling. That's why there is no deploy button here. If you see that this place is still compiling, see it's compiling. It's not yet done. So I can't deploy because it's not yet compiled. But how many of us understand so far?
So I want to ask a question, right? That
Yes.
I, is it also a keyword or you just for the delete.
No, 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 no. It's just me using it as index to represent
Uh,
index. So me, I can write index here.
or can you give put any name?
Okay. So it's very important. It's very, very important to your naming is very important. Okay. Your naming is very, very important. When you are naming your variables, when you are naming your function, when you are naming whatever you are naming, whatever you call it. Can you others can hear me? Okay. Naming is very, very important when it comes to programming in any level yourself. Second of all, you don't want to make your code look stupid. Thirdly, you don't want somebody to be confused while reading your code. Your code should be readable. Your code should be readable. Even somebody that doesn't really understand Solidity, a programmer should look at your code and okay, this is what the person is trying to do. Your code should be neat. Your code should be self-explanatory. Your code should be readable. Okay, so I can come here and put Adamo here, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm looking at in there. So my naming convention should be should be organized. Right. So if you look at this code, if you see this pop, so okay, this pop is to you are popping the array. This one is to get the length of the array. Even if you are a beginner, you looking at this function, you know, okay, this one is trying to get the length of something. And if you look at this one, it's okay, this one is trying to get array. Understand? This one is removing something. Should get so your naming convention should is very, very important. Your naming convention is very, very important. You don't just pick names from the pit of hell and just give it to any of your functions or any of your stuff. And tomorrow, when you okay, let's say for example, you're writing multiple contracts, and each of these contracts you want to inherit this contract, you want to call this function from that contract to this contract, and everything is just so jam packed that you are naming two functions the same. You are trying to it's going to be very confusing. So, in as much as you're trying to solution should be approachable. Am I understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'd like us to go and resonate on this. Okay, I have 30 more minutes. All right, so I was supposed to talk about enums as well. Okay, enums, enums. So enums are okay. I will talk about that tomorrow. I think I will do a brush on enum tomorrow. I won't give an assignment tonight, so that tomorrow class will just start at once.
Tomorrow or
Sorry, tomorrow class
Wednesday.
now. Next class. Don't mind me. Next class. Next class we just go straight right into it. Okay. So next class we'll be talking about enums and structs. And if I have my time, if I have more time, I will I will push it and talk about something else. Okay, we are behind time because of our 1 day off. 1 day we did not complete the class, finished last week Monday. So we are behind time. But so that'll be it. Please, I want to beg us okay, first of all, any question on push, pop, get length, get arrays, and remove this thing. Now, my problem is that this my guy is not compiling. So
So I'm not hearing you. Your voice is kind of low.
can you hear me? What I'm saying is that
Yes.
my guy is not compiling. I don't know why it's not compiling. So um I like us to go and look at this code and practice it. Okay, look at this code and practice it. I will drop this code. I don't know. I don't know, but I think I should drop this code on the group. I drop this code on the group and then I'll drop this one on the group as well. Okay, so let me explain this guy so that you can. So this constructor is to initialize the state variable. Okay, let me put it here. Okay. This one requirements to check zero in the device. So getting too long. What short way should I use? Let's say divisor should not be zero. Okay. Okay. The require method executes before the function is active. Okay, so I don't know if I can write all these ones for you too. So that's the same thing with that. Okay. Okay, are we good? All right, so I'm going to drop these two guys on the group. So I like you to go practice them and have a good hands on it. Any questions so far? Sarah, do you understand? Afolabi, do you understand? Christopher, do you understand? Adekemi, do you understand? Chida, do you understand? Are we in one
Yes.
piece?
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
understand.
All right, so um let me just end this guy. Let me end recording.